Hi everyone, this is Shane, otherwise known as Chordman on the Tim Goal forums. I am creating a tutorial here about pitch bend and vibrato, volume envelope, and I will probably touch a little bit on panning, but I can't really show you how it works here because my camera only records in mono. And please forgive me, I am not a public speaker. I will probably slip and stumble and get stuck here and there, but forgive me for that. This is what I'm showing you here is the guitar solo that I created for my song Helios Rising. I have separated it from the full song and isolated it by itself, and this is what it sounds like. Alright, so I used most of the techniques that Fujam asked about in his thread, and I thought that this would be a good candidate for explaining those techniques and how I use them. So I'm going to just dive right in here. This is the first phrase right here that I named Guitar Solo 1. And the first note that I used right out of the gate utilizes pitch bend, as you can see here. Now pitch bend is, I don't use this guy up here. All this does is bend your note down, doesn't really give you a whole lot of control. A lot of people mistake this for the pitch bend envelope. Not the case. I don't use this. That's just your note pitch bend. Doesn't do you a whole lot of good. I use instead this envelope. It gives you an awful lot of control over what you can do with the note, and I'll explain as I go. But I want you to pay attention to a couple of numbers on this. This guy and this guy. A lot of people don't notice these guys, but what those represent is the range of your view, of this whole view. What this is telling you right now is that you have a horizontal range of three blocks. These guys. 1, 2, 3. Alright? And a vertical range of 8. These guys. So it starts here and it moves up 4 and goes down 4. Got it? I know it's a little confusing. And you can change those views and those ranges by moving the sliders. And you'll see that if I hit this slider over, it'll change to 4. See? So now we have a horizontal range of 4. If I hit select, I'll have a vertical range of 16. It doubles the vertical one every time you move it. And I'm going to fix something real quick. What can I say? I'm anal. Anyway, so we now have I'm back to a vertical range of 8 and a horizontal range of 3. The horizontal range, excuse me, represents where you're. It represents from the beginning of the note, the beginning of the sample, out to wherever you're cutting off, right? Now this sample is farther out than this, but we're zoomed in on the beginning of it. That's the easy way to think about it. Excuse me, getting over a cold here. With regard to the vertical, you have a wide range that you can change it to. Damn it. All right, and you can see. I mean, it looks practically flat here, but it's not. Eek, why did it do that? I apologize. Having buggy issues here. Alright, back to normal. Good. So that's the view we started out with. Now, if I wanted to make the range at which the note moves up, I could move this down. I can change the visual range there. Move it down some more. So now instead of a full step down, now I'm 4 steps down, and you can tell the difference. Alright, I'll move it back up to normal. See the difference? Well, hear the difference? Alright, and that's a very basic pitch change. If I wanted to show you something a little bit more dramatic, I'd go over here. Now this note right here, I wanted to make it sound like the guitarist was stretching the string as the note played. So, see the little triangular shifts here? Right? It moves up a half step for each of those and then sort of drops off at the end. And it sounds like this. And all I used to get that effect was to change the pitch bend. So, I mean, there's a lot of effects you can gain by using that. The next thing I'll talk about here is vibrato. Now, when you talk about vibrato here, it's important to understand that, well, okay, let's start out. First, you have 2 different envelopes here. One is vibrato depth and one is vibrato speed. Now, it's very, very important that you understand that you can't use one of those and not the other. They work in tandem, in conjunction with each other. If you use one or the other, you won't hear any difference. I'm just going to move over here. Here's a note that I used vibrato on. Now it's the exact same sample as this. Alright, but it sounds different. And the reason it sounds different is because, again, I'm using vibrato. Now the way it works, the way they work in conjunction is this. Vibrato depth, okay, you need to think of a sound wave, an up and down sound wave. Vibrato depth, it represents the height and depth of the sound wave, you know, how high and how low it goes. Vibrato speed it represents the frequency, how fast that sound wave moves, right? And I'll demonstrate here how those things work. So right now I'm using a vibrato depth of 5 on this note. Let's say I move that up a bit. Now you see what happened is the top of the sound wave and the bottom of the sound wave got farther apart. And it doesn't take much. Right? Now I'm going to move it up to about, 45 sounds good. Alright, then I'm going to change the speed. See the difference? See? All that does is changes the speed at which the sound wave moves, right? Think of it as a kind of a quick and dirty way to do a pitch bend, but it's meant to, you know, it's meant for a faster pitch bend. Let's see, I'm just going to put this back where it was. Okay, well, I hope that explains vibrato. All it's meant to do is add a little bit of character to your sample. What it allows you to do, one of the cool things that it allows you to do, is make a single sample sound, different throughout the phrase. Longer notes especially sound good with some vibrato. Okay? Okay. Let's see, what else should I talk about here? Volume envelope. We can talk about some volume envelope here. Now, I didn't actually use volume envelope very much in this guitar solo, but I can show you how it works. Again, in this view, you have a a horizontal sliding bar, right? And when you slide it, it doesn't change the aspects of what you have going on in the view until you hit the very edge. But again, the number down here represents the view that you're looking at. And right now I'm looking at a horizontal view of about 6. So I could actually... Now see, you don't want to do that, what I just did, because what it does is it turns your turns the end of your gate into a flat. And you don't want that. Alright. Now, there's a couple of things you can do here. You can make your note sustain out. See how that worked? Or, if you're so inclined, you can have it fade in. See? That's how volume envelope works. All it's doing is taking your sample and changing the volume at which it appears and or disappears. It's good. Fading in is good for things like strings. Strings don't, when you listen to an orchestra, especially if they're playing, kind of longer melodic notes, they don't tend to jump right into the next note. It tends to fade in. At some point, maybe I'll have to do a tutorial on that. But that's what volume envelope's good for. Let's see. What else did you talk about? Got your stuff printed out here. Oh, okay. I guess the only other thing I can talk about is pan. Now, I'm not going to be able to demonstrate pan too good here because, again, my camera only plays in mono. Excuse me. Let's fix this real quick. Good. Alright. Pan works... how do I explain? Pan is used for the most part to position your instruments on either the left or right. So if you have a phrase of guitar or bass or something like that, traditionally it's placed in the center, but not always. People like to do different things. This is one of those things that's fun to play with. In a traditional recording, something that was recorded in a studio, most of your instruments will be down the center. Your bass will be down the center, probably your lead guitar, most likely your singer, your vocalist. But in order to make the song sound bigger, in order to make the sound sound bigger and more natural, a lot of the time what they'll do is they'll place the drummer's cymbals on the left and right. Their hi-hat will be positioned on one or the other. The kick drum will be in the center typically, but your tom drums will be moving from left to right, to represent where they're positioned in the drum kit. Also, your rhythm guitars will typically be on the left and right. This is just as a recording is traditionally done. But it's, that it isn't, a set in stone kind of thing. If you want something to rotate around the speakers left to right and then back again, you'll use your pan envelope. The way to think about it is, I'm trying to remember which is which here. Okay. Up top here represents the right side. Down here represents the left side. Again, you've got a bottom slider representing the length of the sample that you're looking at. So again, the sample moves off the side here. You're zoomed in from the beginning to wherever. And right now we're only looking at a block of 1. So, using the sine curve here, what that does, and I have it set too far to even hear right now, but it's not like you could hear it anyway. What a sine curve does is it takes the sound from center, moves it all the way to the left, and then all the way back to the right, and then back to center. You see? And that's good for, giving yourself kind of a strange little effect. What I've done in the past, just to be fun, is when the sine curve comes back around to center, I've used the volume envelope to lower the volume slightly to make it sound like it's going behind you, so it sounds like the sound's going around you instead of just left to right. That's kind of fun. Play around with it. It'll give you some good effects if you work at it. All right, I think that's pretty much all you asked about. If you have any other questions, feel free to post them and let me know. I may post this in, tutorials all by itself, just to give, people a chance to look at it without having to find the Fujam 2002's question. Anyway, hope everybody's having a great day. We'll talk to you later.